The message notification chirped just as I finished my morning coffee. Another group text from Mom, probably about Delilah's wedding. I ignored it, but 3 more pings followed in rapid succession. With a sigh, I opened my phone. Girls, we need to discuss wedding expenses. Family meeting tonight. Mandatory. I'm Rosalind, and I already knew exactly where this was heading. At 29, I'd perfected the art of being the responsible daughter, the human ATM my family turned to whenever money got tight, which was always. My sister Delilah responded instantly with a string of heart emojis. Can't wait. Terry's parents are expecting something really special, I typed, and deleted 3 different responses before settling on, what time? 7 p.m. sharp. Don't be late like last time, Rosalind, Mom replied. I arrived at 6:55, parking my decade-old Honda next to Delilah's shiny new SUV, the one I'd co-signed for last year when her credit wasn't quite there yet. There's my responsible girl, Dad called from the porch, beer in hand. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Inside, Mom was arranging cheese and crackers like this was a casual social gathering rather than what I knew it would be, an ambush. Delilah sat cross-legged on the couch, scrolling through her phone, barely looking up. So, Mom started once we were all seated, we've been crunching numbers for the wedding. I took a slow sip of water. And? Well, you know Terry's family is established, Mom continued, exchanging glances with Dad. We can't have them thinking we're not able to provide a proper wedding. Define proper, I said. Delilah finally looked up. We found the perfect venue, the Hamilton House. It's gorgeous, Roz, like a fairy tale. And expensive, I added, already feeling my stomach clench. That's why we're family, Mom said, reaching for my hand. I pulled back slightly. We support each other. You're single, no kids, no mortgage. Because I've been paying yours, I cut in. The room went silent. Dad suddenly became very interested in his beer label. That was temporary, Mom snapped, and we're grateful. But this is different. This is your sister's special day? Delilah leaned forward, eyes wide. The venue deposit is $40,000, but that includes catering. I choked on my water. $40,000? Are you insane? Don't be dramatic, Mom said. We're not asking for all of it. Just the deposit and maybe the dress. $25,000? Tops. The room started spinning slightly. I thought about my own savings account, the small apartment I'd been eyeing, the chance to finally have something of my own. I can't, I said quietly. Can't or won't. Mom's voice turned sharp. After everything we've done for you? I laughed, a harsh sound that surprised even me. Everything you've done for me? Like spending my college fund or making me cover Dad's medical bills last year? That's not fair, Dad muttered. No, what's not fair is, it's your duty as family. Mom's voice rose to a shriek. Don't be selfish, Rosalind. Don't you dare be selfish now. I stood up, my hands shaking. I need to think about it. What's there to think about? Delilah whined. It's just money. You always have money. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Behind me, Mom called out, We need an answer by Friday. The venue won't hold without a deposit. In my car, I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend Jade. How'd it go? I stared at the screen for a long moment, something cold and calculated settling in my chest. Finally, I typed back, They want me to pay for the wedding, $25,000. Jade's response was immediate. Tell them to go to hell. I started the car, a plan already forming in my mind. Oh, I'll give them a gift, I whispered to myself. I'll give them something they'll never forget. My phone buzzed again. Mom. Remember, family comes first, always. I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Yes, I said to the empty car. Family comes first, and it's time for a family reckoning. I'll do it, I announced at breakfast with my family 3 days later. The words tasted like vinegar. Mom nearly dropped her coffee cup. Really? Oh, sweetheart, I knew you'd come around. Delilah squealed and launched herself at me, nearly knocking over the syrup. I knew you wouldn't let me down. You're the best big sister ever. I forced a smile, patting her back. Just let me figure out some things with my savings first. Take your time, Dad said, suddenly generous now that I'd agreed. The venue needs the deposit by the end of the month. Back at my apartment that evening, I pulled out an old leather-bound notebook I'd kept since college. Inside were meticulous records of every loan my family had taken from me. I opened my laptop and started creating a spreadsheet. 2018, Dad's emergency gallbladder surgery, $12,000. 2019, Mom's temporary mortgage help, $18,000. 2020, Delilah's defaulted student loans, $22,000. The list went on and on. My phone buzzed, Jade calling. Please tell me you didn't actually agree to this wedding nonsense, she said without preamble. Come over. I need your help with something. 20 minutes later, Jade sat on my couch, staring at my spreadsheet in horror. Holy shit, Roz. This is over $100,000. $147,000 to be exact, I said, typing in another entry. And that's not counting the emotional labor. The what now? I pulled up another document. Hours spent babysitting Delilah when Mom was too stressed. Time taken off work to drive Dad to medical appointments, every crisis I've talked them through. Jade leaned back, understanding dawning on her face. You're not actually giving them the wedding money, are you? Oh, I'm giving them something, I smiled. Just not what they're expecting. Roz, Jade's voice held a warning note. What are you planning? Before I could answer, my phone chimed. A text from Delilah. Found the perfect dress. Only $8,000. When can you come see it? I showed Jade the message. She whistled. They're parasites, you know that, right? If you give them this now, they'll take your soul next. Trust me, I said, adding the dress to my spreadsheet. I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve. The next week was a blur of wedding preparations. I played my part perfectly. The supportive big sister, the dutiful daughter. I attended dress fittings, nodded at venue tours, smiled at florist appointments. You're being so reasonable about everything, Mom gushed over lunch. I was worried you'd be difficult. I've had time to think about what family really means, I replied, watching her face carefully. About giving and taking, about what we owe each other. That's very mature of you, she said, reaching for the check. Oh, would you mind? I pulled out my credit card, adding the $47 lunch to my growing list. That evening, I met with Raphael, the wedding videographer Delilah had hired. I want to make sure you capture everything, I told him, especially during the reception speeches. Don't worry, he assured me. I never miss a moment. Back home, I opened my laptop and started typing. Dear family, for years, you've called me blessed because I had no children, no mortgage, no major expenses. You never asked why. You never questioned where my money went. Well, I've kept track, every dollar, every favor, every sacrifice. And now it's time for an accounting. My phone buzzed. Mom again. Don't forget, we need the venue deposit by Friday. I closed my laptop and pulled out my phone, typing quickly. Don't worry, everything's been arranged. You'll get exactly what you deserve. Jade texted moments later. Still coming over to help me with that project tomorrow? Yes, I replied. Bring that nice paper you used for your sister's wedding invitations and a calculator. I walked to my window, looking out at the city lights. In my reflection, I barely recognized myself. The constant worry lines had smoothed out. The perpetual anxious smile was replaced by something calmer, more determined. My phone chimed one last time. Delilah? You're the best sister ever. Can't wait to see what you're getting us for the wedding. I picked up my notebook titled Reckoning and whispered to the empty room. Oh, you'll see. You'll all see. The roses have to be blush pink, not regular pink, Delilah snapped at the florist. My sister's paying for this. We can afford the premium blooms. I sat in the corner of the flower shop, quietly adding another line to my notes app. The florist shot me a sympathetic look. And we'll need twice as many centerpieces, Delilah continued. The Hamilton house has such high ceilings, everything needs to be grand. My phone buzzed, a calendar reminder for my apartment viewing later, the one I'd have to cancel if I actually paid for this circus. Roz, are you even listening? Delilah waved her hand in front of my face. The florist needs your card. Right here, I smiled, handing it over. Another $3,200 added to the tally. At the mandatory family brunch the next day, Delilah was practically vibrating with excitement. Terry, her fiancé, actually deigned to join us this time, though he spent most of it on his phone. So, Delilah announced, clinking her mimosa glass, we've made an executive decision about the venue. Mom beamed. Tell them, sweetheart. We're upgrading to the full weekend package, Delilah squealed. It includes the rehearsal dinner, the spa day, and a farewell brunch. It's only an extra $40,000. I set down my fork carefully. Excuse me? Well, Terry's parents are hosting such elaborate events for their other son's wedding. Mom jumped in. We can't look. Less than. Less than what? I asked. Bankrupt? Don't be dramatic, Dad said, finally speaking up. We've been thinking, and it's only fair. We spent your college fund on Delilah's private school years ago. This would help balance things out. The restaurant seemed to go quiet around me. You did what? It was for the best, Mom said quickly. You were always so independent, so capable, and look how well you turned out. Yeah, Roz, Delilah added. You're like totally successful now. This is nothing for you. I stood up slowly. I need some air. Outside, I leaned against the brick wall, taking deep breaths. My phone buzzed. A text from Natalia, Delilah's maid of honor. Hey, need help with the wedding speech? I have some interesting stories. No thanks, I typed back. I've got something special planned. Back inside, everyone was acting like nothing had happened. Terry was showing Delilah something on his phone, probably more overpriced wedding extras. We need your final answer about the venue upgrade, Mom said as I sat down. They won't hold it forever. I looked at each of their faces. Mom's practiced concern, Dad's studied indifference, Delilah's entitled expectation, Terry's complete disinterest. Of course, I said softly. I'll make sure my gift is memorable. That evening, I met Jade at our usual bar. She listened as I recounted the brunch conversation, her expression growing darker with each detail. They spent your college fund? She exploded. That's why you had to work full-time through school? I nodded, sipping my wine. Apparently, I was independent enough to handle it. And now they want you to pay for Princess Bridezilla's fantasy weekend? Jade shook her head. Please tell me your plan involves public humiliation. Let's just say, I smiled, I'm giving them exactly what they asked for, an accounting of everything they've taken. My phone lit up with texts. Delilah, found the perfect spa packages, sending you the link. Mom, don't forget to check on those venue upgrades tomorrow. Dad, your mother's worried about the timing. Call her. I silenced my phone and pulled out my notebook. Want to help me calculate compound interest? Jade grinned. On everything they've taken? Girl, they're not ready for that math. Later that night, I sat in my apartment, finalizing the details of my gift. My phone buzzed one last time. Mom again. Remember, you're the example as the older sister. Don't let us down. I added the message screenshot to my growing file and whispered to myself, Don't worry, Mom. I'll show them exactly what kind of example I can be. The next morning, I called the venue. Hi, this is Rosalind, Delilah's sister. I'm handling the payments. I paused, smiling into the phone. Yes, we'll take the full weekend package. And could you make sure there's a good sound system for the reception speeches? I have something special planned. This could be all yours, the realtor said, gesturing around the small but sunny apartment. It's a perfect starter home for a single professional. I ran my hand along the kitchen counter, imagining my coffee maker in the corner, my books on the built-in shelves. The windows faced east. Morning light would fill the space. The deposit is $15,000, she continued. With your credit score, you'd easily qualify for the mortgage. $15,000. Less than what they wanted for Delilah's dress alone. How long can you hold it? I asked. There's another viewing this afternoon, she replied. In this market, I'd decide quickly. Back in my car, I called Jade. I'm going to do it. The apartment? What about the wedding money? They can have their wedding gift, or I can have my freedom. I started the engine. I'm choosing freedom. At the bank, I transferred the deposit money before I could second-guess myself. The banker smiled as she handed me the receipt. Congratulations on your first home. My phone buzzed immediately. Mom. I ignored it and drove to work, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. That evening, someone pounded on my apartment door. I opened it to find Mom, face flushed with anger. The realtor is my friend Sandra's cousin, she spat. How dare you? I stepped aside, letting her storm in. How dare I what? Buy an apartment? You committed to helping with the wedding. Now you're spending money on yourself? It's my money, I said quietly. I earned it. We're your family. She paced my small living room. We've given you everything. Given me? I laughed. You took my college fund. You took my savings. You took my 20s. You're being melodramatic. She stopped pacing. Cancel the purchase. The wedding is more important. No. The word hung between us. Mom's face went very still. No, she whispered, after everything we've done for you? I said no. She grabbed her purse. You're selfish, cold-hearted. I didn't raise you to be like this. You didn't raise me at all, I replied. I raised myself, and Delilah, and kept you and Dad afloat. If you do this, she said, hand on the doorknob, don't expect to be welcome in this family anymore. I smiled, thinking of my notebook full of calculations. You're right. I should get them something special instead. I'll deliver it myself at the reception. After she left, I called Jade. It's done. I bought the apartment. How'd your mom take it? About as well as expected. I opened my laptop. Want to help me format some spreadsheets? The next day, Delilah showed up at my office during lunch. Mom's crying, she announced, dropping into the chair across from my desk. How could you buy an apartment when you knew I needed you? Needed my money, you mean? She flinched. That's not fair. You're my sister. You're supposed to support me. And who's supposed to support me? Don't be dramatic, she said, echoing Mom. It's just money. You always have money. Because I work for it, I replied. Because I save it. Because I don't spend it on $40,000 parties. It's my wedding. She stood up, hands on my desk. The most important day of my life. And this is my life, I gestured around me. The one I built while carrying all of you. You're just jealous, she snapped, because I'm getting married and you're alone. I looked at her, really looked at her. My little sister, who I'd helped with homework, covered for with our parents, rescued from bad dates. Now a stranger demanding her pound of flesh. Get out of my office, Delilah. Mom's right, she said, heading for the door. You are cold-hearted. After she left, I opened my reckoning file and added one more entry. Emotional manipulation, wedding edition. That evening, I sat in my soon-to-be apartment, empty except for my presence and possibility. My phone lit up with texts. Dad. Your mother's devastated. Fix this. Delilah. I hate you. You're ruining everything. Mom. Family means sacrifice. You've forgotten that. I opened my laptop and typed, Dear family, you're right. I have forgotten what sacrifice means. Let me remind you. The cursor blinked, waiting for the rest of my words. Outside, the sun set on my new beginning. My phone buzzed again. Jade. Still want help with that special wedding gift? I smiled, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Yes, it's time to start calculating interest. So, what's the real story with you and Delilah? Natalia asked, stirring her martini. We sat in a dimly lit bar, 3 days before the wedding. I raised an eyebrow. Shouldn't the maid of honor be on the bride's side? Please, she scoffed. I've known Delilah since college. She's been insufferable since Terry proposed. Yesterday she made me redo my speech because it didn't mention her natural grace enough times. I couldn't help but laugh. Sounds like her. Speaking of speeches, Natalia leaned forward. What are you planning? Because that smile you've been wearing lately, it's kind of terrifying. Let's just say my speech will be memorable. Good. She drained her glass. I'm tired of her acting superior just because her fiancé's family has money. Money she's making you spend, by the way. My phone buzzed. Delilah. Emergency! The florist messed up. Need you at the venue now. Duty calls, I sighed, gathering my things. That wedding speech of yours, Natalia called after me. You better make it count. Oh, it will. At the venue, Delilah was berating a tired-looking florist about the shade of pink in the rose arrangements. These are salmon. I specifically said blush. She turned to me. Roz, tell her. They look fine, I said. Fine? Delilah's voice rose. It's my wedding. Nothing can be just fine. Then you handle it, I replied, turning to leave. Where are you going? Mom said you'd help with everything. I'm helping plenty, I said quietly. More than you know. That evening, Jade came over with craft supplies and wine. We spread everything across my floor. Expensive paper, gold leaf, a leather portfolio. This is some serious presentation, Jade said, watching me arrange papers. You sure about this? They wanted an expensive gift. I carefully placed another statement in the portfolio. They're getting one. My phone lit up with texts. Mom. Delilah's crying about the flowers. Fix it. Dad. Don't upset your sister before her big day. Delilah. You're the worst sister ever. I silenced my phone and continued working. The next morning at the rehearsal dinner, everyone was talking about the wedding. Terry's parents kept making subtle comments about the cost. Of course, our Marcus had a much larger venue, Terry's mother said, but this is charming. Oh, we've upgraded everything, Mom rushed to say. Rosalind's handling all the expenses. How generous, Terry's father said, eyeing my simple dress. During dinner, Delilah clinked her glass. I just want to thank everyone, especially my amazing sister, for making this possible. Family is everything. I smiled and raised my glass. Under the table, my other hand gripped my notebook. Later, I found Dad alone on the terrace. You've been quiet, he said, just thinking about family, about debts and obligations. He shifted uncomfortably. About that college fund. Don't worry, I cut him off. Everything will be settled at the reception. The night before the wedding, I sat in my new apartment, still empty except for a single chair and my laptop. The leather portfolio lay finished on the floor, wrapped in silk ribbon. Jade called, "Final chance to back out." "No turning back now." "Good," she said. "They deserve everything they're about to get." My phone buzzed with a final text from Mom. "Remember your speech tomorrow. Keep it loving and appropriate." I picked up the portfolio, running my fingers over the embossed cover. Inside was every receipt, every bank statement, every documented sacrifice I'd made for my family. Years of financial abuse and emotional manipulation, beautifully bound and ready for presentation. "Let's raise a glass to karma," I whispered to the empty room. A text from Natalia lit up my phone. "Whatever you're planning tomorrow, I've got your back, and I've made sure the videographer knows to keep rolling during the speeches." I smiled, placing the portfolio in its gift box. Tomorrow, they'd learn the true cost of taking me for granted. Tomorrow, they'd finally get their accounting. My phone buzzed one last time. "Delilah. Can't wait for your speech tomorrow. Love you, sis. I tied the silk ribbon around the box and whispered, "Oh, you'll love this gift. I promise." The Hamilton house glittered with thousands of fairy lights. Guests milled around in designer outfits, sipping champagne that cost more than my first car. I sat at my assigned table, the gift box resting beside me like a ticking bomb. "You look calm," Jade whispered, taking her seat next to me. "Too calm." I've never been clearer about anything in my life. Mom floated by in her new dress, another expense I'd covered. "Remember, speech after the first dance. Keep it sweet." The ceremony was exactly what Delilah wanted, elaborate, excessive, and all about her. I watched her float down the aisle in her $8,000 dress, Dad beaming beside her. In the front row, Mom dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. During the vows, Natalia caught my eye from her maid of honor position and gave me a subtle nod. Behind her, Raphael, the videographer, adjusted his camera. At the reception, Terry's father gave a speech about family legacy and financial responsibility. I almost laughed out loud. Then Mom stood up, champagne glass in hand. "Family," she began, voice thick with emotion, "is about loyalty and sacrifice, about giving without expecting anything in return. I'm so blessed to have daughters who understand this." She looked directly at me. "Especially our Rosalind, who has always put family first, who has given so much to make this day possible." Delilah wiped away tears. Dad nodded solemnly. The guests murmured appreciatively. "And now," the DJ announced, "the bride's sister would like to present her gift." My moment had arrived. I stood up, picking up the box. Jade squeezed my hand under the table. "Family," I began, my voice steady, "is indeed about sacrifice, about keeping track of what we owe each other, not just in love, but in truth." I walked to the center of the room. Raphael's camera followed me. My sister asked for a special gift. My parents asked for support. They wanted something memorable. I placed the box on the gift table. So I've spent months preparing something unique, something that shows exactly how much I've given, for love. Delilah bounced in her seat, clapping. "Open it now?" "Please do," I smiled. "Everyone should see this." Mom's expression flickered, the first hint of uncertainty I'd seen all day. Delilah tore into the wrapping paper, Terry leaning over her shoulder. The leather portfolio emerged, beautifully bound with gold lettering. A family accounting. "What's this?" she asked, opening it. The first page was simple. "To my beloved family, a complete record of devotion, measured in dollars and cents." Delilah's smile faltered as she turned the page. Mom leaned in to look, then went very still. "What?" Delilah's voice trailed off as she flipped through the pages. "I don't understand." "Let me explain," I said into the microphone. "Page 1, college fund, taken for private school. Pages 2 through 4, mortgage payments. Pages 5 through 7, medical bills. Page 8, student loan bailouts." The room had gone completely silent. Raphael's camera whirred. "Keep going," I encouraged. "You'll find everything there. Every dollar you've taken, every sacrifice you've demanded, every time you called me selfish for wanting something of my own." Mom stood up sharply. "Rosalind, that's enough." "No," I said calmly. "It's not nearly enough. Check the last page. I've calculated the interest." Delilah's hands shook as she reached the final summary. This can't be right." $147,000, I announced to the silent room. "Plus interest, plus the wedding, all carefully documented with dates, bank statements, and your own text messages demanding more." Terry's parents were whispering furiously. Guests shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "You see," I continued, "you wanted an accounting of family obligation. Well, here it is, every penny, every guilt trip, every manipulation." Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. Mom's face had gone from red to white. "Consider this my gift to you, a complete record of what family has cost me. And my gift to myself?" I smiled. "Freedom from ever paying another cent." Delilah started crying, mascara running. "You're ruining my wedding." "No," I said softly. "I paid for your wedding. I'm just showing you the bill." I turned to leave, but stopped at the door. "Oh, and Mom? You were right. Family does come first. That's why I'm finally putting myself first." The last thing I saw as I walked out was Natalia raising her glass in my direction, a fierce grin on her face, while Raphael's camera captured every moment of the unfolding chaos. I made it halfway across the parking lot before the doors burst open behind me. Mom's heels clicked rapidly on the pavement. "Get back in there and fix this," she hissed. "Tell them it was a joke." "Every word is true," I said, turning to face her. "Every number is real. Want to check the math?" "How dare you?" Her voice cracked. "In front of everyone? In front of Terry's family? How dare I tell the truth?" Dad appeared behind her, still holding the portfolio. "Rosie, this isn't right." "Check page 12, I said. "Your gallbladder surgery. Remember telling me it was just a small loan?" Inside, we could hear Delilah's wailing. Guests were starting to leave, murmuring in hushed voices. Terry's parents stood by their table, phones out, frantically texting. Jade emerged from the building, my purse in her hand. "You okay?" "She's not okay," Mom snapped. "She's sick. She needs help." "The only sick thing," Jade replied coldly, "is how you've treated her for years." Raphael appeared with his camera, still rolling. Mom tried to wave him away, but I held up my hand. "No, keep filming. This should be documented too." I turned to my parents. "You wanted a big wedding moment? Well, here it is, your daughter finally standing up for herself." "By humiliating us?" Dad asked. "By telling the truth. Every time I needed something, my apartment, my education, my future, you told me family comes first. Well, here's your family accounting." Delilah stumbled out. Mascara streaked across her face. "You've ruined everything. Terry's parents are talking about prenups now." "Good," I said. "They should know what they're marrying into." "I hate you," she screamed. "I hate you. I hate you. I hate you." "Delilah," I said quietly, "you've been hating me for years. You just didn't have to admit it while I was still useful." Natalia appeared in the doorway holding her phone up. "Just so you know, this is already hitting social media. The video's getting shared in all the local wedding groups." Mom lunged for Natalia's phone, but Jade stepped between them. "Don't," she warned. "You've taken enough." "This isn't over," Mom threatened, jabbing a finger at me. "You'll regret this. No one turns on their family like this." "Check the final page," I said, the one titled Emotional Labor. I've documented every threat, every guilt trip, every manipulation. 29 years of it. Terry appeared, looking uncomfortable. "Delilah, my parents want to leave." "See what you've done?" Delilah sobbed. "My perfect day ruined." "Perfect?" I laughed. "It cost me everything I had. But you know what? It was worth it, because now everyone knows exactly who you are." Raphael adjusted his camera angle. "This is better than any wedding video I've ever shot." "You're no longer my daughter," Mom declared dramatically. "You're dead to us." "No," I said, pulling out my keys. "I'm just finally alive and free." I turned to Raphael. "Make sure they get a copy of everything you filmed. Consider it part of the wedding package I paid for." Dad started flipping through the portfolio again, his face growing paler with each page. "These numbers, they can't be right." "Every receipt is attached," I said. "Every text message saved. Every demand documented. I learned from you, Mom. Always keep records." "You planned this," Delilah accused. "You planned to ruin my wedding all along." "No," I replied. "You planned this. Every time you demanded more. Every time you called me selfish for saying no. Every time you took and took and took." I looked at each of them one last time. Mom's fury, Dad's confusion, Delilah's mascara-streaked rage. "This is my gift to you," I said clearly, making sure Raphael's camera caught every word. Debt acknowledgement and emancipation. We're officially even. Even? Mom's laugh was hysterical. You think this makes us even? Actually, I smiled, you still owe me quite a bit, but I'm writing it off as the cost of learning who you really are. I turned to leave, Jade beside me. Behind us, I could hear Delilah's renewed sobs, Mom's angry threats, the continuing clicks of Raphael's camera. Wait, Dad called. What happens now? I looked back one last time. Now? Now you live with the truth, just like I've had to live with it all these years. As we drove away, my phone exploded with notifications, messages from relatives, texts from wedding guests, social media alerts. I turned it off. You okay? Jade asked. Better than okay, I replied. I'm free. The keys to my new apartment felt heavy in my hand as I unlocked the door. Jade followed behind, carrying a box labeled kitchen. First box in your new life, Ra, she said, setting it down. Where do you want it? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Natalia. You need to see this. The wedding video is everywhere. She'd attached a link. The footage showed everything. The gift presentation, the accounting, Mom's meltdown in the parking lot. The comments section was exploding. Best wedding revenge ever. Finally, someone exposes toxic family dynamics. The receipts, she kept all the receipts. Turn it off, I told Jade, who was watching over my shoulder. I need to unpack. The doorbell rang. I tensed, half expecting Mom or Delilah, but it was Raphael. Hey, he said, holding up a USB drive. Thought you might want the unedited footage. Also, this came to the studio for you. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a money order from Dad for $5,000 and a note. It's a start. Keep it, I said, trying to hand it back to Raphael. No, Jade interrupted. Put it toward your new couch. Let them start paying you back. My phone kept buzzing. Texts from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. They did the same to me. About time someone stood up to them. You're not alone. A new email popped up from Terry's mother. While we don't condone public spectacles, we appreciate knowing the truth about family finances before the marriage. We're implementing those prenups. I started unpacking boxes, trying to focus on building my new life rather than the aftermath of destroying my old one. Jade helped me arrange furniture while Raphael set up my TV. Another text came through, Delilah. The video ruined everything. Terry's family is making us postpone the wedding until we take financial management classes. I hope you're happy. Actually, I typed back, I am. Mom had left 17 voicemails. I deleted them all unheard. Look what I found, Jade called from the kitchen, pulling out my old coffee maker. First thing to make this place home? As the familiar smell of coffee filled the apartment, another text arrived, from Dad. Your mother's not speaking to me. I've been looking at the numbers. I never realized. I'm sorry. I set the phone down without replying. Some apologies come too late. Natalia stopped by with housewarming wine. The country club crowd is scandalized, she reported gleefully. But you know what? 3 other women have come forward about their families doing the same thing. You started something. I didn't mean to start anything, I said, unpacking plates. I just wanted to stop being their ATM. Well, you did more than that, Raphael added, showing us his phone. My video business is booming. Everyone wants to know if I'm that wedding videographer. The sun was setting when Jade found my old leather notebook in a box. Still keeping track? She asked. No, I said, taking it from her. I'm done counting other people's debts. I tossed it in the trash, then hung my first picture, a photo of just me, smiling, from before the wedding drama started. My phone buzzed one last time, an unknown number, a text from Terry. For what it's worth, you were right, about everything. I placed my coffee maker on the counter, right where I'd imagined it that first viewing. The morning sun would hit it perfectly. You know what? I said to my friends, pulling out coffee cups. I think I'm finally home. Jade raised her wine glass. To new beginnings. To freedom, Natalia added. To keeping receipts, Raphael grinned. I looked around my small but sunlit apartment, at the boxes waiting to be unpacked, at the friends who stood by me, at the life I could finally start building for myself. To having something that's finally, fully mine, I said, raising my cup. No strings attached. Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside, my apartment slowly came together, not with borrowed money or guilty obligations, but with earned independence and chosen family. My phone lit up again. Dad. Can we talk? I looked at the message for a long moment, then typed, maybe, but first I need to finish unpacking my new life. I set the phone down and turned to my friends. Who's helping me build this IKEA bookshelf? As laughter filled my new home, I realized some debts aren't meant to be repaid. They're meant to be released. And some gifts, like freedom, you have to give yourself.